Even if you feel you have a good handle on how to write this short argument paper, it's still a good idea to look at another sample paper to see how another student constructed their paper. For this sample paper, the instructions say to open the attachment to view the second sample short argument paper. This sample paper is about the cultural milieu in Woman Hollering Creek. And I wanted to give you an example of how to write about the cultural milieu, because sometimes people have good things to say, but they don't structure it the right way. Remember that you cannot write about this story, nor can you write about A Rose for Emily, Babylon Revisited, or Two Kinds. But again, I wanted you to see a good example of an essay about this topic, so I chose one about a story we've already read. So I put the thesis statement and the topic sentences in bold font so that you can see the clear connection between the thesis and the topic sentences. Please be sure to follow the required structure and use correct MLA format in your paper. So of course you are going to open up the attached files. It takes too long if I do that, so I already have it open down here. I'm going to remind you again about the format. Okay, we're going to have 1-inch margins all around. You are going to have your MLA heading, your name, Professor Shannon, English 1302 31358, which is our section number, and then write out the date, first the day, then the month, and then the year. You want to then insert the page number. I'll remind you how to do this because this is something that students have problems with. Again, it's page number. It is top of page, and then you would choose plain number 3. And when the number pops up, then you're going to type your last name and a space, and then it will be have the information that you need. The title then is an original title. We're going to center it. It's not bolded. It's not bigger than the rest of the font. Again, we'll think, wrong ideas. Okay, so what is this going to be about? What wrong ideas am I going to find out about? And then we have the title of the short story in quotation marks. It's not italicized, only in quotation marks. And then we have the name of the author. It's a short story written by Sandra Cisneros. And then we have our summary. Okay, so a brief summary of the story. Not too long, not too short. And then we get to our thesis statement. I believe the cultural milieu in Woman Hollering Creek misguides Cleophilus into believing all she needs to be happy in her life is a man. Okay, so there's taking a position on the cultural milieu. What's important about it? Well, it misguides Cleophilus into believing all she needs to be happy in her life is a man. Then we have our topic sentence. Cleophilus grew up in Mexico and watches Spanish language soap operas or telenovelas, and they all show a woman with a man. Okay, so you notice in the topic sentence, you don't have to use the word cultural milieu. It may be awkward to try to fit the word cultural milieu in here, but we still get the idea of that's what you're talking about, because talking about growing up, where the person grows up, what they do, where they grow up, and then reminding us how they show a woman with a man. So a strong topic sentence. And then they introduce their first quote, and they actually kind of give two here, and then they explain why they feel these telenovelas, how they paint a picture in Cleophilus' mind that misguides her into believing that she needs to be happy with a man, right, and not just by herself and independent. And then in this second topic sentence, when she gets married, Cleophilus moves to Seguin, Texas, and this town reinforces the idea that a woman needs a man. So again, you don't have to put the word cultural milieu into this sentence, but we still get that clear connection between the topic sentence and the thesis statement. And here then, the author talks about Seguin and what happens there, how that reinforces the idea that Cleophilus needs a man. Then there's a third body paragraph, And here's our topic sentence. The traditional Mexican culture of Cleophilus' hometown also supports the idea that a woman needs a man. Again, that clear connection between culture and what happens in this story. And again, then explain it with quotes, being sure to introduce and to explain the quote. And finally, again, even in our conclusion, in that first sentence, in Woman Hollering Creek, there are signs all around Cleophilus, misguiding her into believing she needs a man. Again, so reminding us what the student's already written, and then explains, right, how that then changes then at the end, right? Gives us a look at how maybe that will change after she meets up with Felice. And again, this one goes just a little bit, right, just a little bit over the 2 full pages, which is perfectly fine. So remember that if you do have any questions about how to correctly write this paper, let me know, and you can always submit your paper to the Academic Learning Center or to Tutor 24/7.